Oh yeah, we can talk 5 more hours about creating boundaries. Yeah, and it is something you kind of learn. You kind of learn as you go. It's hard. It is hard to learn how to establish your own boundaries, especially when you start out your career. I do agree with you, Kay, that initially when you do start your career, I do think it is important to experience a whole wide spectrum of different roles, so that you can actually speak to that experience, maybe a year after that, and then be like, no, I actually did that. So I am going to step up from that role instead of outright rejecting it, so that you can say, I've actually done that. And 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 then this new person can do that, so she can learn and contribute that way. But yeah, there's just so many things about like skill creep and like different situations, right? Like for me, my clients tend to be more of like business owners, individual to business owners, whereas Kay, your clients tend to be more startup-y, and there's a different culture expectations for startups in New York. And so yeah, we should dedicate another time to talk about this. That's also like the boundary thing also is going to have a strong relationship with how do we charge our client. How much do we charge them? That's a very, very practical question that
yeah, that's like we go another 5 hours on that.
Yeah, and then maybe the need for more transparency, especially amongst like women, and having perhaps a community around that transparency will only help. Just knowing your numbers, just knowing how others are doing is only going to like get you more motivated, or and then know your worth in this market. So yeah, I think we should definitely talk about that.
Oh my gosh, there's like so many different rabbit holes we can go. This conversation, I feel like, from like negotiation, like the art of negotiation, to the art of boundary setting, to knowing your numbers, to knowing your worth, like it's all so real, right? And yeah, what I love about our community is that like it's so diverse and everybody has such different backgrounds, right? And there's like so many different angles you can take with it, but I think, with every IRENE, our values are sort of like, money is important, right? And it's not the only thing, obviously, but it does. I mean, money doesn't bring you happiness per se, but it can help.
Yeah,
help with like your health. It can help with like so many different things, right? It's not the end goal. It's a tool, and I think that's so important because there's so many different philosophies and approaches towards money, right? And people have so many different relationships and blueprints of like their money mindset and how they view money, right? You may have grown up in a household with parents who are like, money is evil, like money is bad, and all that, and that impacts like your relationship with money. For me, I think it's an important relationship to have, and it's important to have a healthy relationship with money because that impacts like your relationship with yourself and other people too, right? And again, it's like, it's not the only thing, but it's not the end goal, but it's a tool to help you achieve your passions in life, your mission in life, your desires, right? I think too often, we're sort of in this era of like, follow your passion and do what you're passionate about. Great, okay, but how are you going to pay like your rent? You know what I mean? Or how are you going to pay your electricity bill or the phone bill, right? And I think those are real topics that like women need to talk about more, develop like sort of a healthier mindset around money, right? And just like, and there's like so much historic, all this history that we sort of have to unwind from, right? It's recently like women were allowed to vote, women were allowed to work, women were allowed to earn money, right? And we're not even at like equal pay range, right? We're still less than men, even though we have the same roles, and probably at the time women are more skilled and producing more results with it, but we're still getting paid less. And so it's like societal issue, like a personal issue, but I think like, with communities like every IRENE and other similar groups, like, these are really sort of like change agents to start sort of that personal first, like our own self-talk and our own self-dialogue, and then to have like these accountability conversations, right, where we can sort of help each other and build each other up. So we can like start changing that dialogue, and we can start like getting what we deserve, right? And of course, like you have to work hard and you have to produce results, right? That's like baseline. But once you get that baseline, it's like, okay, all these like micro things and like, you know, little things that help you get an edge and help you do your job even better, you know, so you can feel more fulfilled and you can achieve more and you can like provide more for your family. Like those are all part of what make up like the greater society, right? And so it's really cool. Like I'm really grateful for like the every IRENE community to have these spaces where it's like, okay, I'm not the only one that feels like this, right? Like everyone we interviewed before, I'm just like, yes, yes, like from Antoinette to Cara to guest speakers that came on, it's like you hear the same patterns over and over again, and it starts to give you confidence, right? It starts to like make you aware, like, oh, we're not the only ones. Like I'm not the only one that feels like this. Like I'm not the only one struggling with like my own self-worth, you know, and like divorcing that from the paycheck, but then also like making sure the paycheck is good too. Like, you know, all these dynamics.
That's what we're about. You know, that's why I think, you know, because with every IRENE, we've explored different topics that women face, and we've come to the place where, okay, we really want to like dig deep into this topic of, you know, women and the relationship of women and money. You know, how do we reconcile that and how do we approach that? And I think it starts with having this honest conversation and having a community, having a very safe place to talk about the real things, you know, just recent things that's happened to you and I and, you know, all of us. So yeah, I would love to keep this conversation going.